BelfrageShow.com. Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along this morning. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing better than I was yesterday. I was in a foul mood. I don't know why. You have those days, you know.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in the Melvin scenario.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Tuesday, April 8th. Let's go to the President's True Social account because this is where the big news is happening. And this was the president last evening. He said the Supreme Court has upheld the rule of law in our nation by allowing a president, whoever that may be able to secure our borders and protect our families and our country itself. A great day for justice in America, President Trump said. So you have the U.S. Supreme Court lifting the administration had requested then, lifting the stay of Judge Boasberg and stopping the deportation of these Venezuelans. So the president very pleased with that. I think that's the big news story this morning. The president also said on True Social last night, I'm pleased to report that my long-scheduled annual physical examination will be done at Walter Reed on Friday of this week. I've never felt better, but nevertheless, these things must be done, the president said. And then he also shared a video. This was from Fox Business Network. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent saying almost 70 countries have now approached us wanting to help rebalance global trade. Yesterday, you'll remember, it was 50 countries. Now it's 70. He's saying that have approached the United States. And that's it. Have a great day. So long. Really, I mean, that's just incredible news this morning. So let's dive into those stories in a little bit more detail. You got the U.S. Supreme Court granting the president's request to vacate the ruling by Judge Boasberg. And so it was a 5-4 decision, which is raising questions about Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She was part of the 4, going with the liberals again. And I've seen there are stories this morning, articles, I should say. People are speculating now on social media and beyond about, what's going on with Amy Coney Barrett here. Some who are already saying, and I don't know if I've gotten to this point yet, but some are saying, did Trump make a mistake? This may be the only, someone had said, this may be the only mistake Trump has made so far. So we'll see. It was a 5-4 decision, though, in the president's behalf here. So the Trump administration then can continue deporting suspected illegal alien gang members. And in the ruling, what they said that this should have been challenged in Texas where they were being held, not in the District of Columbia. So this is what the Supreme Court was saying. So a judge in the District of Columbia basically has no standing to bring this. It would have to come from Texas, is what the Supreme Court said. So Attorney General Pam Bondi responded to this, described it as a landmark victory for the rule of law, she said. An activist judge in Washington, D.C. does not have the jurisdiction to seize control of President Trump's authority to conduct foreign policy and keep the American people safe. The Department of Justice will continue fighting in court to make America safe again. So the president had asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow the federal government to deport the suspected illegal alien gang members and to do it under the Alien Enemies Act. Some of them suspected of being members of Tren de Aragua. So that's a big victory for the Trump administration yesterday. I think a big win for America personally, not just the Trump administration. Also, but the question of Amy Coney Barrett and Judge Boasberg, there's speculation and suggestions going on X this morning. There was some reporting by Julie Kelly. She is a reporter who covers happenings at DOJ. And Julie Kelly, that got the attention of Mike Davis, who is an attorney, former chief counsel for nominations in the Senate Judiciary Committee. He was a law clerk for Justice Gorsuch, Mike Davis. And he's saying Jeb Boasberg is hell-bent on holding Trump officials in contempt. And this is after Kelly had reported that Boasberg reaffirmed a previously scheduled hearing on his preliminary injunction motion after the Supreme Court vacated his decision. So you have the U.S. Supreme Court saying of Boasberg, vacating that decision, he didn't have standing, boom, and he went ahead and scheduled a hearing anyway. And so Mike Davis said Boasberg is hell-bent on holding Trump officials in contempt, which must get ignored and further escalate a constitutional crisis. It's time for House Republicans to open an impeachment probe on Boasberg. His orders are lawless and dangerous. He's unhinged, he says. But keep in mind, this is a man who was the chief counsel for the Senate Judiciary Committee and a law clerk under Justice Gorsuch. Wow. Other big news this morning, and I mentioned this earlier, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on Larry Kudlow's program on Fox Business Network, and now he said, you got 70 nations that want to negotiate with the United States. And Bessent said, the president is better than anyone at giving himself maximum leverage. So what he has done is we outlined the tariffs on April 2nd, then gave countries several days to think about it. He said, as I advised on many shows on April 2nd, I suggested that foreign officials keep your cool, you do not escalate, come to us with your offers on how you're going to drop tariffs, how you're going to drop non-tariff barriers, how you're going to stop your currency manipulation, how you're going to stop the subsidized financing, and at a point, President Trump will be ready to negotiate, he said. So now you got 70 countries. And he says the president, and there's some news here regarding Japan, and I'll touch on that here with for you in just a moment. But he told Kudlow he expected Japan would get priority with negotiations just because they came forward very quickly. also talking about the military and economic ties between America and Japan. The president saying yesterday, virtually every country wants to negotiate. So he was meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, and he said, virtually every country wants to negotiate. If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't have anybody who wants to negotiate. We would have gone to those countries, you want to talk, and they'd go, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us. Trump said that his private conversation with Netanyahu began with Netanyahu announcing that he was going to nix all tariffs. And Trump said, even Bibi, and this is unrelated because it's a different kind of a relationship, but he started off our conversation today that he's cutting all of the tariffs. He's cutting everything. He's going to get down to a free base, the president said. And he said other countries around the world are offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for, because they're experiencing a lot of hurt. And the hurt is that they've taken advantage of us, and we finally fought back. I can tell you there are 50, 60, maybe 70 countries now. Now this is Scott Bessent in his interview with Fox Business. 50, 60, maybe almost 70 countries now who have approached us. So it's going to be a busy April, May, maybe into June. Japan has reached out. And the Japanese Prime Minister looking to negotiate with the Trump administration. And so Trump said on Truth Social, countries from all over the world are talking to us. Tough but fair parameters are being set. Spoke to the Japanese Prime Minister this morning. He's sending a top team to negotiate. They have treated the U.S. very poorly on trade. They don't take our cars, but we take millions of theirs. Likewise, agriculture, many other things. It all has to change, he said, but especially with China. China standing fast. And I don't think that's going to be much of a surprise to many that China is standing fast. And they're heating up their rhetoric, and to which the president is, in typical fashion, the president responding saying, okay, well, we're going to, we'll add additional tariffs then on China on top of what we're already doing. I think he was talking like 50% on top of what we're already doing. Also, the president said yesterday that the U.S. would start talking with Iran over about its nuclear program coming up on Saturday. This was a surprise announcement during his meeting with Netanyahu yesterday. And he said these talks have started. Maybe a deal's going to be made. That would be great. We're meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level, the president said. And he said everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with. He's talking about war against Iran, striking militarily, striking Iran. And the president saying the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it, the president said. So this was a surprise announcement made by the president yesterday, is that there will be talks with Iran coming up on Saturday. Also, the president said yesterday, there was a lot of news that was made during this news conference that the president held with Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. And he said, he was talking about the European Union's 0 for 0 tariff deal. This is what the European Union has been talking about. 0 for 0 tariffs. And the president saying it's not enough for the U.S. to lower its tariffs. And the president was asked about this. Is this enough? Because the EU has said that they have offered 0 for 0 tariffs on cars and industrial goods. Is that not enough? And the president said, no, it's not. The EU has been very tough over the years. I always say it was formed to really do damage to the United States in trade. That's the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe, I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And they formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force against the United States for trade. So they had NATO, which is largely the same countries, and they took advantage of us, dollar-wise and militarily, until I got there, he said. So he's saying, no, a 0 for 0 tariff deal is not enough. Also, there was, following China's announcement that it is going to implement and counter tariffs against American products. Farmers are worried about this, and is understandably so. It's one of the reasons I wanted to share this with you. There's talk the administration might fund a new bailout for American farmers. So China announced it's hitting the U.S. with a 34% counter tariff, placed restrictions on imports of food, and which would really hit American agriculture. Farm groups have warned that retaliatory tariffs could harm prices for corn, soybeans, cotton, other crops, and the tariffs would hurt their bottom line. So Republican Senator Tom Tillis is on record as saying the Trump tariff policy could cause irreparable damage to farmers. And there was a lot of talk about this over the weekend. In fact, that story is still out there, and a big one this morning. Also, the president is planning a military parade to be held on his birthday. The president's birthday is on Flag Day. So it happens to be Flag Day, June 14th, which is also will be the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. And so a Washington, D.C. source said the president's considering a military parade that would stretch almost 4 miles from the Pentagon in Arlington to the White House. And the some of the reaction to this, saying, I would hope the federal government remains sensitive to the pains and concerns of numerous military veteran residents who have lost or might lose their jobs in recent federal decisions. Man, you just can't avoid this. You get this weighing into everything. So the president's considering a military parade and hoping that he would, be sensitive to veterans. You got to know that's coming from somebody who's must be a Democrat. I mean, forgive me, because as we watch this president, has there been anybody who's been more in support of veterans issues, honoring veterans, building up our military, than this president? You have got to be kidding me. It just gets, it It's just incredible. Also, there was a story this morning. CNBC had to issue an on-air correction. The CNBC said the president was considering a pause on his tariffs. And this was yesterday. In fact, it was the false headline actually came from, and this is what's so incredible. This is how incestuous the media is and they operate. So you have CNBC based on an interview that was taking place over on Fox. And the president's economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, was on Fox and Friends. And Hassett says, I think the president is going to decide what the president is going to decide. So in other words, who knows, right? I mean, that's the way CNBC took that to mean the president putting a pause on these tariffs. And CNBC runs out there and starts reporting it. And they got head chyrons and everything flashing. And then Trump is, pausing these tariffs. And of course, none of it was true. And now they're having to eat cake. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. 627. Fair Skies 26. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekdays at 2. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.
Legacy Media.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tire, the Get You More Tire and Automotive Store.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
ABC Seamless. In today's fast-paced business world, building relationships is key. At Lawrence & Schiller, it's about pushing boundaries and problem solving.
Oh, no, Robert. Hope you're doing better, Chief.
At l-s.com, where solutions are extraordinary.
Are you feeling the impact?
Hope you're doing better, Robert.
Changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com.
Storms, fires, power grid failures, supply chain stretched thin. There's never been a better time to get prepared. And right now, My Patriot Supply is offering something they've never done before. For a limited time, when you order their 3-month emergency food supply, you'll receive the Mega Kit for the same price. That's over $360 worth of real beef, chicken, fruits, and vegetables, included absolutely free. And this kit isn't just about surviving. It's built to keep you strong, delivering 2,500 calories a day. That's 1,000 calories more per day than other emergency kits on the market. Whether it's a long-term outage, a short-term crisis, or just a little peace of mind, this food is ready when you need it. It stays fresh for up to 25 years and ships fast and discreetly from MyPatriotSupply.com. This is an unprecedented offer and won't come around twice. Take control of your family's future while you still can. Visit MyPatriotSupply.com now. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. America's leader in emergency preparedness.
6:30. Fair Skies 26 currently at Kello. Fox News Radio coming up fast. Then we'll check in with Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. More details on the suspect accused of last Friday's deadly stabbing in Sioux Falls. Police also continue to investigate after a body was found in Brandon over the weekend. Joe will have details on those stories and more. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
China says it'll fight to the end a trade war with the U.S. as President Trump threatens another 50% tariff on Chinese products over new taxes on American imports.
You add that to the reciprocal tariff announced last week, 34%. Add that to the tariff over fentanyl trafficking that was announced in February, that's 20%. You get to 104% tariff on Chinese goods.
Fox's Peter Ducey. Supreme Court for now allows the Trump administration to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport accused gang members with limitations.
They're not addressing the constitutionality of using the wartime authority. Instead, they say the plaintiffs must bring their lawsuit to a Texas federal court where the detentions took place and not in a D.C. federal court. The Supreme Court also ruled that the detainees must be given an opportunity to challenge their removals.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Florida wins the men's college basketball title with a 65-63 comeback win over Houston. America's listening to Fox News.
Weather brought to you by Infinity Sedation Dentistry, Sioux Falls. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Here is the latest on the suspect accused in last Friday's deadly stabbing in Sioux Falls. 35-year-old Jordan Adams made his first court appearance yesterday, facing second-degree murder and other charges. Sioux Falls police says Adams was arrested after a 45-year-old man was found stabbed 5 times outside an apartment building near Marion Park, who later died at the scene. Court documents say several people witnessed the stabbing. One eyewitness said that Adams appeared drunk while lunging at the victim with a knife. Adams was just released from prison a few weeks ago. He's currently being held on a $1 million bond. Police continue to investigate after a body was found in Brandon over the weekend. The Brandon Police Department say officers responded to the 300 block of North Split Rock Boulevard and found a deceased male lying on the sidewalk. Foul play is not suspected, but investigators are awaiting results from an autopsy. It's Severe Weather Awareness Week in South Dakota. Peter Rogers, the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service branch in Sioux Falls, says thunderstorms are a common form of severe weather.
So when we talk about severe thunderstorm warnings, we're actually looking at one of two different things. Either winds, non-tornadic winds that are 58 miles per hour or greater, or hail that's the size of a quarter, which is about 1 inch in diameter or larger. Because at those values, you can start to expect more potential damage, especially to property.
Another being lightning.
By definition, all thunderstorms have lightning, but we don't issue a warning for lightning because then every thunderstorm would be warned for it.
Rogers says it's important to have a reliable means to receive severe weather warnings, such as a cell phone or a portable NOAA weather radio. And speaking of severe weather, the annual tornado drill in Minnehaha County is all set for tomorrow. The drill will be held April 9th at 10:15 a.m. Schools, businesses, and residents are encouraged to practice their severe weather plans during the drill. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Look for a high today near 57 in the Sioux Falls area. Winds out of the south at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low in the low 30s. A chance of a sprinkle tomorrow, but warmer, high at 68. Northwest winds 15 to 30. Few clouds around on Thursday with highs in the upper 50s. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
Kello stands for news. Always has, always will. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
As I plan my summer vacation, under no circumstances will I use Airbnb or Vrbo. You might not want to either after you hear this. I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. Their secure servers reroute my internet connection so my data is encrypted. Get an extra 4 months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. And no, I'm not calling for a boycott against either company. This is what I'm going to do. And what led me to this is both Airbnb and Vrbo's own fault. An Arkansas couple had just enjoyed what we shall call an intimate moment at their Scottsdale Airbnb. The husband noticed something was just a little off about that smoke detector. Sure enough, it was a spy cam. The SD card was packed with videos taken over years. Worse yet, it was capable of live streaming everything. It gets worse each year. Airbnb and Vrbo could have led the prosecution of these perverts. Instead, they simply asked them to stop, which is certainly not a sufficient guarantee for me. Stay tech ahead with my free newsletter. You can sign up right now at getkim.com. Do you trust your internet provider? I hope not. Depending on where you live, ISPs can be required to keep logs of your online activity in case the government wants a peek. Here in the United States, ISPs can even legally sell your browsing history. What can you do about it? Get ExpressVPN. I use the app to reroute my online traffic through encrypted servers, so my ISP can't touch it. Why do I trust ExpressVPN? Any reliable VPN gets requests from law enforcement and the government. ExpressVPN received over 300 last year, and none of them exposed any customer's history, thanks to specially engineered server architecture that runs on volatile memory. ExpressVPN doesn't have any of their customer activity logs. It's private by design. With just one click, ExpressVPN keeps your data yours. Get up to 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Kim. That's 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
See why Window World of Sioux Falls doors and windows are right for you. Not only do they raise home value and curb appeal, they cut costs with energy-efficient construction made in the USA with a best-in-class warranty. Upgrade your home now. Call 605-373-1100.
When your home has a plumbing or air conditioning emergency, call the Hander Plumbing and HVAC 24 hours, 7 day a week experienced service team. Clogged drains, leaky faucets, or if you need to get your AC unit cleaned and ready for summer heat. Call Hander Plumbing and HVAC and get a hander on it.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The following is sponsored by Bid My Listing. Selling your home? With Ready, the best real estate agents will pay you up front for your listing. 2, 5, as much as $10,000 just for the chance to sell your home. So when you're ready to sell, give us a call and give us the basic information about your property. We'll notify all those smart agents who signed up with Ready, and within 48 hours, they'll be competing to sell your home. Pick the best one, get thousands up front. Call Ready, 888-551-READY. That's 888-551-REDY.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a Chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all Chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-334-20.
I woke up today thinking today was Wednesday. Oh, is it not always disappointing when you think you're a day ahead of where you I don't mind if I wake up on Tuesday thinking it's Monday, because then it's like, oh, today's Tuesday. I was thinking today was Wednesday. You know how it is when you wake up. I'm kind of muddle-headed even once I wake up. So.
Covered by your insurance company, so you pay as little as $0 for the medication if prescribed. No insurance, no problem. Zelty can ship semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and Zepbound, for as little as $151 a month versus $1,000 plus for name brand medications. Either way, it's high-quality medical care, weight loss coaching, and access to game-changing medications, all 100% online. Don't wait. Text coverage 200-300 to get started today on your weight loss journey with Zelty. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text coverage 200-300. That's coverage 200-300. Text coverage 200-300.
49th Street Liquor is your go-to for great drinks, even better deals. They are at the corner of 49th Street and Minnesota Avenue. Parking is a breeze. You're steps away from the door. And once you get inside, you're gonna find plenty that you really love. They got all your favorite beer, wine, and spirits. Right now, they've got some non-alcoholic THC infused beverages. Those are becoming more popular. They've got a huge variety of them that are on sale this month. They've got a huge walk-in beer cave. You can check that good selection of local beers there as well. New brands of seltzers. They've got a limited inventory of fine liqueurs. If you're going to be doing some backyard grilling, patio parties, you're going to find everything you need at 49th Street Liquor, including Dakota Butcher products. They just have got a lot to offer. Stop in and take a look around. Your happy hour starts at the new 49th Street Liquor at 49th in Minnesota. Cheers to good times and great drinks.
Day. You've got places to go and things to do.
No matter where you're going or what you're doing, you can always listen to Callow on your phone.
Entertaining talk, news when it happens, good things to know when you're on the go.
Listen to Callow wherever you are with a free Callow AM app. Callow News Talk 1320 107.9.
641. Fair skies and 26. Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Really appreciate having you along this morning. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belfrage.
Now, the big story this morning, the Supreme Court in a 5-4 ruling yesterday, handing the president a major victory. They are allowing the president to invoke the 1798 Alien Enemies Act in order to deport those gang members of Tren de Aragua. And this ruling overturns Judge James Boasberg and his order. And the president was pretty happy about it. On True Social yesterday, the president said the Supreme Court has upheld the rule of law in our nation by allowing a president, whoever that may be able to secure our borders and protect our families and our country itself. A great day for justice in America, the president said. Also, the president met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Netanyahu, the first one to meet with the president since Trump announced those tariffs. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said, "We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same," he said. And the tariffs have been a big story, and now as many as 70 countries have reached out. A lot of, Bill Ackman, who is the billionaire hedge fund investor, over the weekend, saying the trade war isn't what voters wanted. The administration needs to change course. And he said, or risk economic nuclear war. And that phrase is bringing a lot of reaction from economic nuclear war. I mean, overstate much, Mr. Ackman? So that's not what we've seen. So already, I mean, you take a look at what happened on the Dow yesterday. Again, you get all the Ackman and others running around with their hair on fire. What happened on the Dow with the Dow yesterday on Wall Street yesterday? It wasn't, as Jim Cramer had said, we're going to see the biggest meltdown. Never transpired, never happened. So let's all take a breath and calm down, shall we? And I hear others saying the same thing. I heard Clay Travis talking about this on his on Clay and Buck yesterday. These economists, man, their value to me has gone down the toilet. I mean, seriously, absolutely. I mean, as a guy on Main Street, and you're listening to these economists, and generally, and I mean this very sincerely, generally it's like, okay, well, these folks are in the know, right? They're in the know. They got more information than I do. I'll take a listen to them. And you don't even go 24, 48 hours, and they're wrong. They're dire predictions. It's like, yeah, maybe these are not people that I need to listen to. Just more people running around sowing the seeds of discontent and alarm and panic. Yeah, it's really doesn't appeal to me. Also trending this morning, the president giving China a deadline of today to withdraw their retaliatory tariff on the United States. He threatened to impose an additional 50% tariff. Now, that's an additional 50% on top of the 34%. He's talking about going up to 101% if China doesn't relent on this. Also, the company that, we're talking about economic issues because the tariffs have been a big story for the past week or so. The company that makes Jaguar and Land Rover vehicles said over the weekend that they will pause shipments to the United States. They are one of the largest UK automakers, and they described the move as a short-term action. Said it was going to take time to develop a long-term plan to accommodate the new economic landscape, they said. So they're trying to figure that out, but they said they will pause shipments of Jaguar and Land Rover to the United States as a result while they're figuring it out. Also, the Supreme Court yesterday temporarily froze a midnight deadline for returning a Maryland man to the U.S. after he was mistakenly sent to that prison in El Salvador. And this man was swept up in deportation flights last month, sent to a terrorism center in El Salvador, despite a judge's order finding that he would be persecuted by local gangs in his home country. So the Trump administration had fought this midnight deadline, and the U.S. Supreme Court temporarily freezing that. We'll see where it goes from here. This story appeals to me as somebody, and I'll explain why in a moment. The vice president held a ceremony at the White House on Friday to celebrate his mother's 10 years of sobriety. And Vance was there with his mother alongside about 24 family members, and just some really neat photos of the two of them together. And he said, I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here. 10 years clean and sober. I love you, Mom. And Mom, I was thinking, it'll be 10 years officially in January of 2025. And if President Trump's okay with it, let's have the celebration in the White House. He had said this back in July. So they had the ceremony in the White House Friday celebrating his mother's 10 years of sobriety. And as somebody who lost my mother to alcoholism, it's I love seeing success stories like that. It's such a, what it did to my mom, and really was just really hard to watch that. And so to see the really neat moment between the vice president and his mom really lifted my spirits, and good for her. I'm so happy for her and their family. Other stories trending this morning. Sam Menzen, who is an assistant general manager of the Detroit Tigers, or at least he was, he resigned on Thursday because the team planned to terminate him for some inappropriate behavior, and before they could fire him, he resigned. So 2 former Tigers employees say that Menzen sent them unsolicited lewd photos. Oh, ishy. And as soon as they were made aware of it, they were moving, and he resigned as a result. After baseball fans and the family of Roberto Clemente expressed a lot of anger over the decision by the Pittsburgh Pirates to the removal of the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame's logo from the outfield wall, the team announced that it would be restored. So this is a Roberto Clemente number 21 logo on the back of the right field wall. Well, it was removed. There was a lot of outrage from fans and family. And so MajorLeagueBaseball.com reported the team would add the player's number 21 logo back to the right field wall. It had been removed to place an advertisement on that space. Whoops. Bad thinking. Also trending this morning, Florida and Houston are set for the 2025 NCAA Championship Showdown. Lot of attention then on Walter Clayton Jr. He's leading the Gators in their pretty incredible run. Also trending this morning, if you're a fan of the White Lotus, the creators teasing some big changes are coming. The season 3 finale has divided fans. I'm not going to give you any details here, but he's hinting at location and other changes for season 4 of the White Lotus. Do you remember this had become a story, a painter who had caught headlines for distorting a painting of President Donald Trump. And he, this was in Colorado. Remember, this was the portrait in Colorado that Trump was talking about. He didn't like it. And the president said, nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves. But the one in Colorado in the state capitol put up by the governor, along with all of the other presidents, was purposefully distorted to a level that even I perhaps have never seen before. You remember this? This was just recently. Well, now the artist is a British painter. Her name is Sarah Boardman. She is the one who made the portrait of Trump to be hung in the Colorado Capitol. Her business has been pummeled following Trump's response. I don't wish bad things on people. I really don't. But Trump had said that of Boardman, he said she must have lost her talent as she got older. So now the value of her art has just plummeted. So she is a native of Britain and has painted portraits of several presidents. She also painted Obama. And Trump thought the one of Obama was much better. But she said, President Trump is entitled to comment freely, as we all are, but the additional allegations that I purposefully distorted the portrait and that I must have lost my talent as I got older are now directly and negatively impacting my business of over 41 years, which is now in danger of not recovering, she says. Now, this story's been trending the last couple of days, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, you know, seriously, I wouldn't. But I guess that's her problem, unfortunately. So she seems to be putting it on Trump. The Trump went too far in his criticism. Have you heard President Trump before? He's one to speak his mind. Also, this is in Idaho. The legislature has approved a bill to ban a food assistance program. They don't want it covering candy and soda. So it's headed to the governor's desk for consideration. Idaho would also need federal approval for the proposed ban. Also, there's a story about an American YouTuber who left a Diet Coke can for a reclusive island tribe. Wound up being arrested, set to appear in court later this month. Charges carry a possible sentence of up to 5 years in prison and a fine. And visitors are banned from traveling to the island and then leaving a Diet Coke can there. And that's a look at the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Currently, fair skies 26 this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thanks for starting your day with me. Very much appreciated. I'll see you again at 9:30 this morning for the 4th hour. So take care until then.